Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Treasured Wellness. I'm your host, Michelle. And as we have been doing a 5-part series on self-care, I hope that you've been able to see how caring for yourself is easy, or caring for yourself is doable in these easy and consistent ways, and how it's really not selfish. It's actually very necessary to help your body to be well. And that's what we want, right? I shared simple modalities that pack a really big punch in helping your body to recover, to regain energy, and to reduce your frustrating brain fog, right? So if you miss any of them, go back. You can catch them on the Treasured Wellness podcast, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. And you can also catch them on the Treasured Wellness YouTube channel. Okay, so at the root, at the core, self-love is an identity issue. Do you agree with that? Think about that. Is self-care an identity issue? If you have past trauma, abuse of any kind, neglect, traumatic life experiences, this part can be super hard for you. We cannot minimize that. And that is why we talk about it, we deal with it inside the Midlife Health Makeover, because everything changes when we truly understand our identity. What does the Bible say about self-love and self-care? There are two main verses that I want to share with you today. And the first one is Mark 1:35. And it says, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Very early in the morning. Very early in the morning. Okay, so Jesus loved himself enough to seek his Father at the start of every single day. Why? To fuel himself, to fill himself up for the day. Okay. Being God, he knew what his day would bring, but he also was man. And so he knew that he needed to fuel up, he needed to fill up with the Lord, with his heavenly Father, for whatever that day would bring, right? And when we are filling up with the Lord first thing in the morning, it makes everything else fall into place, right? No matter what is going on, it sets the tone for our day first thing in the morning. And this can be really tricky for people. And so you might have to come up with creative ways that you can do this, where you can seek the Lord first, Matthew 6:33, whether that's getting up 15 minutes earlier, getting up 5 minutes earlier. Find what works so that you can seek him first each and every morning. And then the second verse is from Mark 2. It is Mark 12, I'm going to back up, verses 29 through 31. So he's talking about the greatest commandment. The most important one, answered Jesus, is this: Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. And this is from the NIV. Okay, so there's a lot of alls in there. So all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Is it hard for us to love our neighbor if we don't love ourselves? Yeah, I think so. And so for that, self-care in part begins with a little bit of humility as we seek the Lord for our true identity. Like I talked about earlier, we need to understand whose we are. We need to understand who we are in Jesus. Only Jesus can fill us and show us who we are in him. He's the only one. And we have a lot of voices, right? And if you have grown up in the church, or if you have grown up as an adult in the church, you still have a lot of voices. And we have the world's way, and we have the church way of what self-care looks like. Is self-care selfish? All of that. When we strip all of that away and we go to the Lord, when we humble ourselves and say, Lord, who am I? And who have you created me to be? When we humble ourselves in acknowledging that Jesus needs to be the one to tell us our identity, not the world, not even the church. Jesus. When we humble ourselves, we are more open to biblical self-care, which then and only then can we fulfill all that he has for us, because we are truly living this life with him and seeking him for our everything, which keeps us humble, keeps us surrendered, and keeps us rooted in him. And when we know whose we are, it brings us that peace that makes no sense, right? And when we know who we are, it brings us confidence in Christ that whatever the day brings, whatever fire you are walking through, whatever trial you are walking through, God has that. He has us. He's walking right there with us. And so seeking the Lord first, Matthew 6:33, for everything, and then Mark 1:35, like Jesus modeled this. It's a form of self-care, true spiritual self-care, which pours into other areas of our health and our life. So I hope that that makes sense. I hope that that is helpful. It helps you to shift your thoughts around self-care and self-love to more of a biblical way of thinking. Is self-care selfish? Not the way God intends self-care to be. Let's not forget that God created the Sabbath for us. He didn't create the Sabbath for himself. We don't just all of a sudden be like, hey, I need a break. I need a day off. God knew that. From the very beginning, he created the Sabbath for us because he knew we would need a day to recharge, right? Self-care is not selfish. God is telling us. He's telling us, and he's modeling for us. So as we are talking about ways to show ourselves some self-care that nurture us, be thinking about what are some ways that you show yourself some care. I know for me personally, I used to think more of the worldly way of self-care, spending money on clothes and home decorations that I really didn't need, those mani-pedis, though I will say that I was not one to really go to a salon and get a mani-pedi or a mani or a pedi, but I did have a daughter, and so we would go to the nail school, and we would do that a few times, right? Because it was important to her and it was time spent with her. It was a great form of self-care for me and for her, and just that togetherness. And it was a special, special time for us. Some other things I used to think self-care was going to a spa for a facial or a massage, you know, the spa where you can spend all day there and just get one or two services or something. I used to feel like that was really a great form of self-care. And honestly, guys, it kept me so me focused. And when I didn't have the ability to do things like that, those things that I thought were self-care, it really frustrated me. I'm just being honest. Like, I really felt frustrated. Like, why is, all of these other women able to go to the spa? Why are all these other women able to have a beach day by themselves? Or, all of these things, like, it kept me very me focused. And I had to work through that because, again, I felt this tug of war inside of me as a Christian. I knew I needed to take better care of myself, but I was getting these messages, kind of like mixed messages, about what that looked like, both in the world and spiritually within the church. So as we talk about some easy ways to show your self-care, be thinking about what your views are on self-care and consider talking with the Lord about it. Going to the Lord with intention and intentionality, so that you can make this very personal, because God is a God of personal relationship. He wants to reveal to you what he wants you to know, and he cares about every detail of your health. So I am going to go through just really quickly to do kind of like a show and tell of some things that we have talked about over the last 5 weeks. We talked about oral health. We talked about oil pulling, very, very specifically, taking a small amount of oil, really organic, cold pressed, unrefined coconut oil. Okay. Like, you want to be sure you're getting good quality. And you maybe a tablespoon, swish it in your mouth. I do this in the shower because that way I'm busy, I'm already doing something, and then I'm getting ready. And then when when you're done, like 15 minutes, maybe 20, you spit it out in the trash. Never spit it out down your drain. It will clog your drain and your hubby will not be happy. So, but then you rinse your mouth with water and you brush and floss your teeth after. Now, I will say a tongue scraper is fabulous. If you don't have a tongue scraper, get one. So important for our oral health, helps your whole microbiome. And then there are some other great tongue scrapers. This is a copper tongue scraper. And then there are some other things that you can use if you have like bleeding gums that are more gentle than flossing. But guys, if you are having trouble with bleeding gums, we need to get to the bottom of why. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, it's a gut issue. So the other thing that you can do to help brighten and whiten your teeth is using a charcoal powder, and that's so messy, so messy, honestly. So just be prepared for that, but it is a nice natural way to clean your teeth. So I did not get into the whole toothpaste conversation on the episode, but I have been kind of looking and searching for natural toothpaste that doesn't have artificial sweeteners in them. I do not know why. If you're not swallowing it, your toothpaste needs to taste sweet. I don't know why. But my favorite was Trader Joe's. And this one is not my favorite because it has fluoride. I do not do fluoride. But this is what my husband bought one time. And since then, Trader Joe's has stopped carrying toothpaste. But they had my favorite, and it didn't have sodium lauryl sulfite. It didn't have the sodium lauryl anything. So that was my favorite. And it was using like peppermint oil or a natural oil, no sweetener. So I am actually on the hunt right now looking for a better, clean toothpaste. I'm probably going to make my own, just to be honest. This brand, Hello, is in every Walmart. This was a good option. This was a great switch for us when I finally got my husband off of Crest. But because that took a while, when they like what they like, it's hard. But this toothpaste has sweeteners in it that are not healthy for you. It has erythritol and it has xylitol, which have both been linked, along with sucralose, to heart disease and stroke. So looking for a clean toothpaste that doesn't cost $28 a tube, right? Because I think that's ridiculous. It should not. That's why I'm going to make my own. So, but anyway, so do the best that you can. If you are switching from Crest to this, excellent. Great switch. If you have a Trader Joe's and you're switching to something, if Trader Joe's still carries toothpaste at where you are, switch to that. Do the next best thing. There's no perfection in this, right? We're just making the next best choice until we can find something else. And so don't stress about it. Use up what you have, but just know there are healthier options. And also know that, yeah, you might want to check the ingredients in your toothpaste, even if it says natural. Okay. So then I want to share too, back to the coconut oil. I actually had a small cavity last year in my tooth, and my dentist was like, let's just watch this for a little while. We'll check back in 6 months. You know how they do. And so I did that. I left the office and I'm like, well, I'm going to start oil pulling again because I realized it had been a few months since I had done that. And again, I don't oil pull every day. I don't even do it every week. You just get in these self-care routines where you're adding in a little bit more to your day, your morning or your evening. I always did it in the morning, the oil pulling, because I would do it with a shower. So I go back in 6 months and he's looking and he's, looking at taking pictures and he's like, well, it looks like your cavity's gone. And I'm like, oh, it's probably because I've been oil pulling. And he laughed. Now, he's not a natural dentist. He is not a biological dentist at all, but he knows how I am, how I err towards more holistic health. And so he laughed and he goes, well, I guess it's working. And I'm like, yeah, it does work actually, because there has been proof that shows that it has actually healed a cavity. So there you go. That's my personal story on that. And then I want to talk about dry brushing. Okay. So these are the 2 brushes that I use. This one is a lot like pokier. Dry brushing is a natural exfoliant, and you can find that your skin looks brighter and it feels smoother after you have been dry brushing for a week or so. It also is amazing for lymphatic support. It helps to move the lymph around your body, which is what we want, you guys. We want our lymph to be moving around. We want good circulation in the body. So for that reason alone, it's a great way to try dry brushing. Okay, so the lymphatic system is a major part of the body's immune system, and it's made up of organs and lymph nodes and ducts and vessels that are transporting the lymph through the body. And a lot of the lymph vessels run closely under the skin, which is why dry brushing is a great idea. So people that do it regularly are claiming that they feel like it is moving the lymph in their body. So it's also a great exfoliation. It helps to clear dirt and oil from your pores. So if you use a smaller one on your face, be really, really careful and gentle. You might find that it's reducing your pore size. So that's pretty cool. And then some people are claiming that dry brushing gives you an energy boost. So you want to be sure that you are brushing towards the heart upward and where your lymphatic system drains. Okay, so I start at my feet and I work my way up my body. Now, be gentle when you hit your stomach area, your breast area, your armpit area. Be really gentle. Go in a circle. You want to go in a circular pattern and do it gently. And you want to do it for about 8 times, 8 strokes on your skin. It does feel weird at first and maybe a little tender. This brush was too tender for me, but I love it on my feet. It feels really, really good on my feet. Some bristles can be painful if they're really stiff. So shop around, find what you like. This is my absolute favorite. And I feel like I got this at a Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm not sure. But I know I got this one at Bed Bath & Beyond. So just Home Goods, TJ Maxx, places like that, a good place to look. Okay, we talked about cold plunging. Okay, so cold plunging, we definitely want to go gently. We want to go gently with cold plunging. And so let me get this verse off here. Okay, there we go. So we want to be gentle with our cold plunging. I am not a huge fan of actually legit cold plunging. Filling up your bathtub with ice and water. And it's called hydrotherapy or cryotherapy. I'm sure you've heard about it. There's not much evidence that going longer than 5 minutes has much benefit. So bear that in mind as you decide, if you decide to do a plunge. Now, I know my son used to do these competitions while he was on the cross country and track team, where they would all sit in trash cans full of ice and they would just sit up to their waist. But, it was the competition who could sit in there the longest. And, it's so funny. Like we were laughing about it the other day when we were talking about it again, because he's like, yeah, we knew there was no real benefit longer than 5 minutes, but it was a competition. So even back then, like they knew, kids, but I like to do the cold water spray. That's what I like to do. Okay. There is good research that cold water has a good effect on your brain and your body. So it can help decrease your inflammation, of course, soothe your muscles that are sore, helps with mood and focus, helps with detoxing, gives you an energy boost, improves circulation. So that's really, really important. Speeds up your metabolism, better stress response, great pain relief. And it even helps to stimulate your leukocytes, which are your white blood cells that help fight sickness. So it gives you an immune boost. So that's really important. Now, if you're going to go on full on plunging in the tub, fill up your tub partway just to cover your waist with cold water and ice. Water temperature 50 to 60 degrees. It does not have to be colder than that and should not be colder than that. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Ease your way in to build up to 5 minutes, okay? And listen to your body. If your body is saying enough, it's enough. Get out, get warm quickly after. And the other thing is, if you are not a fan or you want to ease your way in, you want to maybe put a rice bag in the freezer, or you can use an ice pack and just put it on the back of your neck. So that is that is a great way to kind of bring your body back into a little bit more balance. Put it on your pulse points as well. Okay, and then we talked about castor oil. Castor oil is from the castor bean plant, mainly cultivated in Africa, South America, and India. And India actually accounts for over 90% of castor oil exports globally. Castor oil has vitamin E and ricinoleic acid, which is a unique fatty acid that actually stimulates liver detoxification. Yes, and supports your liver function overall. Castor oil is also one of the oldest biblical crops. I'm going to say it's biblical crop for sure. It's one of the oldest cultivated crops. Okay. The word kikayon is in the book of Jonah in the King James Version, and it's been translated as castor oil plant in some cases. Yes, there's still some debate about that, but it's fairly certain that castor oil was used in biblical times for cosmetic and medicinal uses. And listen, we know that God created everything on the earth for us to use, and it's up to us to discover how to use it. And he called it good. So I really strongly believe that castor oil was absolutely around and was used in biblical times. So, it's also been known or called Palma Christi, or the palm of Christ. That's super cool to me. But it has been known, and it is known to have a lot of wellness properties in it. So castor oil penetrates really, really deeply in the skin. And on episode 267, I was sharing my personal view of castor oil and how I've tried it myself. And I had a ganglion cyst on my wrist, and I was using it for some time, and I noticed that it was smaller and getting softer. I should say it was getting softer, but I wasn't really noticing any other difference. And then so kept going. And now my cyst is gone. It's like it's just not sticking out anymore. So that's praise God. So I'm not going to say it was the castor oil. I'm going to say that it was God, but maybe he used the castor oil for that. And regardless, either way, I don't need surgery. So I'm thrilled. But it can penetrate really, really deeply into the skin and break down adhesions, bumps, and lumps. So it's really important. So I use this brand, and I don't recommend ever getting any castor oil in plastic bottles, because the plastic leaches into the castor oil, and it's going to render it more ineffective. Plus you're getting a lot of plastic chemicals in there. So you want a dark glass bottle that helps to retract the light, and it keeps it cleaner. You want hexane-free, 100% organic and cold pressed oil. And you can use essential oils if you want as well, and some lotion to help with the smell, the aroma. There is no smell to castor oil. It should not smell. If it smells rancid, that's not the oil for you to use. It should not smell rancid. And then you can add some essential oils if you would like to do that as well. So I am going to actually put the link down in the description for the essential oils that I use, so that you can have that as well. And I love specifically when I am doing my castor oil pack to use, if I'm using it more as a stress reliever, I love to use like more of a parasympathetic oil blend, where it's going to help with stress relief, helps my nervous system to get more into a relaxed state. So I will pop that down in below. But I want to talk about castor oil packs. So you want to be using 100% cotton, organic cotton. And so for that reason, this is why I use, this is actually a organic cotton burp cloth for kids, for babies. And so I love this because it fits perfectly around my abdomen. And you just rub that coconut oil wherever you want it. So if you want liver support, you're rubbing it where your liver is. If you want gallbladder support, you're rubbing it where your gallbladder. Plaster it all over your abdomen, put this on, and then you heat up a rice bag. And then you lay the rice bag where you want that oil to penetrate even deeper. Now, as you're massaging it, or as you're rubbing it on there, give yourself a good massage with the castor oil. So you want to do that for about 20 minutes. And here's a bonus. I did not talk about this in the episode, but one of the things that I love to do now, I've just started doing this. I had done it before, forgot about it, started doing it again more recently, is you get a bucket of hot water, pour some Epsom salts in there, pour some essential oils in there, and then you assemble your castor oil pack, get all that set, carry all this. I carry it all outside onto the back deck because being outside in nature fills me. It's a great form of self-care for me. And so I will soak my feet while I am doing a castor oil pack. Now, this is not a time for you to be scrolling social media, checking emails, no devices, guys. If you want true self-care, get off a screen and read the Bible, read a devotion book, journal, just close your eyes and deep breathe, listen to the night sounds. And that's why I love to do it, because the weather has changed a little bit, so it's not so oppressive outside. I'm able to sit out there, listen to the night sounds, look at the stars, look at the moon, and I'm detoxing my body in a gentle way that's providing care, and I'm being still. And for us go women, it's hard for us to be still, right? So this kind of forces you to be still for at least the time that your water goes cold or your rice bag gets cold. I do have a larger rice bag that stays hot longer, but roughly you're looking at 15, 20 minutes for the castor oil packs. So will castor oil, doing regular castor oil packs, help you to not feel so tired and foggy? Yes, in a roundabout way, it can, because it's helping your body to gently detox. It's supporting your liver to flow better. It's helping your lymphatic system as well. You don't want harmful toxins in your body, so you need to get them out. And the liver plays one of the largest roles in detoxing, and the skin. Skin is the largest organ of your body. A lot of us have abused our livers through a lifetime of poor choices. So showing the liver some love, it's very necessary, very important. When you do a castor oil pack, you are placing it directly over your liver or your gallbladder or where you are wanting it to be intended, or do side to side and place the whole heating pad around your whole abdomen. So a congested liver leads to brain fog and fatigue, among a bunch of other things, right? So I will also post the link to the liver episode I did, episode 205. I will post that as well in the description, so you can go check that out. But this helps the liver to flow better and not be so congested. So if you are listening to this and you're exhausted and you're just overwhelmed, even thinking about how in the world can I or should I start prioritizing myself and focusing on your health right now in this season, I definitely encourage you to schedule your fatigue freedom call this week. Okay. Schedule it this week. The link will be down in the description. And this is how you can really take the first step to take back your health. And on this call, like you're going to walk away from the call knowing that we've just dove into your specific fatigue and brain fog concerns. And that's going to encourage you and empower you and help you to be confident in your health, really understanding what the root cause is behind your low energy and foggy thinking. And what this means is you will be able to leave our call with that renewed optimism about your daily tiredness, your daily fogginess. Like, why? And and you will have confirmation that you are on the right track. So when you are ready to fix your fog and your fatigue without the overwhelm and without the stress of figuring it out all on your own, transformation can happen. So be sure to schedule your time. Thanks so much for joining me. Be sure to like and subscribe to this Treasured Wellness channel. And thank you so much for popping in here. And I pray that your day is blessed. Remember, you are a beautiful treasure. So treasure your wellness. Okay, really quick before you go, if you have tried really hard to help yourself heal and recover, and you are still not where you hope to be, hear this from my heart to yours. You were never working with the full, complete picture. No one ever gave you the right things to look at. You've put in real effort. You've chased down answers to your questions. You've made changes. You've pushed through on willpower and stick-to-itiveness, and still your body isn't responding the way it used to, and you just can't figure out why. Well, here's the part that no one ever told you, and it's the part that explains why nothing has worked until now. Because most of what is out there gives women's wellness one more protocol, one more rule, one more thing to white knuckle, and they call it help. Some of it borrows new age ideas, wraps them up in a few flowery Bible verses, and they call it Christian. Neither one helps you to get answers, restore your energy, or steward your health the way God intended for you. And that is the work that I do, and it is unlike anything else in the space. I don't chase your symptoms. I look at the whole picture. You as a beautiful creation, the way God designed your body to function. And I help you understand what's really going on underneath it all, with faith as the foundation. You were never meant to power your way through the rest of your life. You were meant to understand the body He entrusted to you and to steward it well. So if you are ready to stop managing your symptoms and finally get the answers your body has been waiting for, this is your next step. Book your Fatigue Freedom Breakthrough Call through the link in today's show notes, or go to treasuredwellness.com/contact. You and I are going to get clear on what is really going on in your body.